One of the best things about being a video producer is getting to play around with video tech. I am a first-class button pusher. Maybe you are as well. Maybe you're wondering, what kind of tech do I need to up my video game? What can I use that will take my phone footage that I'm using because I can't afford a big DSLR camera and make it not look like phone footage? Then you might want to look at the Moza Mini Mi Gimbal for Mobiles by Gudsen. I'm here to lay out all the facts to help you make a decision and hopefully help you to get up and create your own videos. I've got some test footage here to show you how stable it is. I'm going to go run through the Moza Genie app, which is the companion for the gimbal, and the pros and cons of everything. So if you're looking to buy a new gimbal, let's get started. I want to say a big thanks to David from DOD Media and Gudsen. I won the Moza Mini Mi and a bunch of David's Lightroom presets and Premiere Pro presets in a giveaway he had on his YouTube channel. David also did a review of the Moza Mini Mi, which I've linked at the end of the video, so it can help you make a better decision about whether this gimbal's right for you from two video producer perspectives. If you watch his review, sub to his channel. He's got tons of great photography and video tutorials, really insightful, and he's another one of the UK channels that does video and photography tutorials, so make sure that you're supporting the UK channels, subbing to this channel and subbing to David's channel. So, Gudsen haven't sponsored this video. I won the gimbal in a giveaway, which means this video is completely impartial and bias free, which will help you make a more informed decision about whether this gimbal is right for you. I don't know why Moza would choose to name its gimbal Mini Mi, but this is what the gimbal does. The gimbal retails at the time of this video between £89 and £99 or $99. The gimbal comes with a travel-friendly case, a micro SD cable, and a super handy stand and lens cloth. Main features include 8 follow modes, object tracking, which is really handy for hyperlapses, wireless and tether charging, a handy feature if you're traveling or filming all day, joystick for manual control, inception mode, sport gear mode, which is a beast, live streaming and full manual exposure controls via the iOS app. And the camera connects to the gimbal via Bluetooth. So as soon as I opened up the box, the gimbal feels really comfy in my hand. The ergonomics are really good. It's lightweight at 534 grams. So unlike other gimbals, you don't have to do bicep curls in order to film, basically. The gimbal doesn't come charged, but when it is, it's got a 2100 milliamp hour battery, which is supposedly supposed to give the gimbal about 10 hours worth of lifetime, which is huge for the amount of time that you might be shooting in a typical day. The gimbal supports iPhone 6 to 10, Huawei Mate 10 and Samsung Galaxy, but the gimbal can take weights of 300 grams, so if you've got a heavier phone maybe, if you've got a case on it, it can take the weight. The gimbal also features a shortcut for the yaw motor to turn 180 degrees or switch from back to front facing cameras on your mobile, without even accessing the screen. Let's run through who I feel this gimbal is for. Moza is a great name. It has a great line of consumer, prosumer and professional motorized stabilizers, also known as gimbals. I was really impressed about how the Moza Mini Mi really stood up and how reactive it was in my hand and how smooth the footage looked when I went back into playback. Out of the box, if you're traveling, if you're a journalist, if you're a marketer that's covering an event, or if you're an influencer, if you want a small setup that works with your phone, the Moza Mini Mi is perfect. This can give you some seriously slick and professional looking footage on a budget, but it's still a low budget in comparison to the 300 to 700 pound gimbals that you would need to support heavier weighted cameras and lenses. And I know what you're thinking, £100 is still an awful lot if you're just starting out or if you're trying to break into video. At the same time, you also have to remember that you're also limited to the quality that comes out of your mobile. So you might have to even invest in even more to separate your footage from other video creators that are using their mobile to really stand out. If you're wanting to make money from making mobile video, carve a niche as a mobile filmmaker, or if you want a light setup to collect and sell usable stock footage, the Moza Mini Mi is a great add-on to your kit, but be prepared to invest in some affordable glass for your phone, a good audio setup, and a third-party app like Filmic Pro. I mentioned the Filmic Pro app because as an Android user, I don't have access to the full spec of features that I would otherwise have with the iOS app. So this gimbal is actually better if you have an iPhone available. According to the Moza Mini Mi beta testing group, Android is a more difficult OS to program for, but there is an update on the way. Seeing as this gimbal came out in April 2018 and it's January 2019 now, I was kind of expecting that there would have been an update to the Android app so that we could get all these features. You're not just limited to photo and video on this gimbal though, you also have 3 time-lapse modes. The first way to time-lapse is by attaching the stand and capturing a static time-lapse. Or if you enable the object tracking, you can move around an object and let the gimbal do all the work. I was impressed with how well this tracked, although in some cases I did have to close the app on my phone, power down the gimbal, and start back up again for it all to work. The last time-lapse mode allows you to take a motion time-lapse from a stationary position with up to 9 different points of interest. This works well, but my top tip would be to log your last position first. So then every the end of your time lapse should be your first point of interest, and then every sequential point of interest should be working back to your beginning of your time lapse. Makes sense? I did a bit of cheating and I watched a couple of reviews to see what other people were saying about the Moza Mini Mi, and what I found was everybody was going mental for the Inception mode. Like, you're thinking, Inception mode, that's brilliant. It works really well on the DJI Ronin S, and probably the Moza Air 2 has that feature too. Although it doesn't really work for 2 reasons. A, yeah, we'll say A. One, that in Inception, the room was spinning whilst the actors, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, were sort of stationary. So whereas in the gimbal it's kind of reverse. It's like the whole world is spinning, and that doesn't make sense. So it's not really Inception mode, although it's still quite a good gimmick if you're into that style, if you're trying to disorientate your reader, your viewer deliberately, whatever. The next thing is, it only really works when your lens on your camera is aligned with the roll axis of the gimbal. And if you look at most mobile phones, your lens is here, the roll axis is here. So what you'll find is when you're spinning on your axis, you're actually having to manually compensate. You're actually having to manually compensate to keep that lens in the middle, which is just tricky, unnecessary, and not really going to work. So I'm not sure how this will work, but it still works if you're just trying to rock side to side. Besides the lack of features in the Genie app, the other thing that annoyed me was switching the follow modes on the gimbal. You change the modes from a yaw lock to pitch lock to roll lock to yaw and pitch follow to full follow to... It gets really confusing, but you do this by just double clicking, triple clicking, and full, like long pressing the side button there, and I think maybe the top button there. No matter how many times I clicked it, I could never get on the mode I wanted to. You do need to have the app on your phone in order to quickly do this. You can just go back into settings and manually select it. I feel it'll be a lot quicker to do. I don't have this problem with my Fayetech A1000. I can easily go from full follow to full lock. Mind you, on the A1000 I've got a lock button there, so that's normally quite handy too. Yeah, so it is just lucky that in the app you can do that a lot quicker than trying to memorize a bunch of different triple clicks, double clicks. All you really need to remember is how do you turn the phone 180 degrees, how do you lock the gimbal in place if you're just trying to keep your horizon level, how you switch from front to back camera, how you recenter it. You recenter it just by pushing the bottom button there twice. You don't need to make it more complicated than it already is, Moza. That's basically what I'm saying. The last thing that annoys me is if you want to switch it from horizontal to vertical, you can't actually do that by leaving the phone on the gimbal and doing it the way you want. So if I turn it off for a second, take off my phone, you can see right here the text is sort of up right there. You'd think the gimbal's like that, but when you add your phone, my lens is there. When you add it like that, that's fine. And if you want to do that vertically, you would just turn it on this little axis here by loosening that knob, except on the gimbal it only turns clockwise. It doesn't turn anti-clockwise. So for ages I was like, how the hell do I get into vertical mode? This is such a stupid feature. It's just broken, it's defective. In actual fact, what you need to do is, before you even turn on the gimbal, I'll turn it off. You turn it upside down like this. You have to turn it round like this, so that your lens is now on the left hand side, and the writing on the back of the arms here, the motors, they're upside down. So now that you can turn it up like that. So now whenever I'm thinking about doing horizontal to vertical video, not that I normally do vertical video, it's just nice to know that I can. I always have the pitch axis on the pitch axis motor on the right hand side with my lens to the left. So my final thoughts are, this is a handy piece of kit in the off chance I can't bring my A6-300 or my A1000 with me. I can still use this for my day job if quality is not an issue, if I can get away with my mobile, but I still want to keep that sort of standard of smooth, professional looking footage to make to give my videos a bit of an interesting look as well. Until the Moza update their Genie app, or until I invest into some mobile gear like a few lenses, some ND filters for that, I won't be swapping this for my main kit anytime soon. No piece of gear is perfect, and not one piece of gear is going to make everybody happy. But if you've got an iPhone, this is a really nice, affordable bit of kit that'll still give you some cinematic imageries and really let your creativity go. And hopefully this video has been helpful and it's going to get you to get up and go and create your own video. Make sure you like this video if you want to see more reviews on this channel. I've got tons of more tutorials in the bag already and coming up in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you sub to the channel, and I'll see you the next time.